Okay. All set? Perfect, thank you. The time is 5:35. I'd like to call this special Board of Education meeting to order. Trustee Goodrich, could you please perform the roll call for those Board of Education members who are present?
Certainly, Madam President. Trustee Townsend. Present. Trustee Schindler. Trustee Fields. Here. Trustee Gainsley. Here. Trustee Goodrich, I am here. Vice President Lee. President Hawkins.
Here. We have 5 Board of Education members present and 2 that are absent this evening. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented? Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support, Trustee Gainsley.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Gainsley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to item number 3, which is a request for a closed session pursuant to Section 8A of the Open Meetings Act, personnel evaluation of the superintendent. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, this is Trustee Gainsley. I move that the Board of Education convene in closed session under Section 8A of the OMA to consider a personnel evaluation of the superintendent.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Gainsley. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. The Board of Education will convene into closed session at 5:37 p.m. Oh, is it? Okay. Okay, that's fine.
So we're going to be here. Yes, that's what they said we'll have to meet in here, everybody. Trustee Thompson, they said we'll have to meet in here. That would be up to the board and the superintendent. It's the board's call. Well, we're coming back for the evaluation. Okay. All right. You have to remember her. That helping your steps?
It is.
I'm gonna get them in. I'm gonna get them in.
I'm leaving all my stuff here.
I have my phone. I think we're good.
I have my phone on.
No, we're going in there. Do you want to grab some? No.
Being with their population, students. It's still cold. It was like Sunday, I woke up Sunday morning.
Press your green button. Oh, okay. Are you all set? Good? Okay. The time is 25. I would. Put it back on him. Hello?
You can back up.
The time is 6:35. I would like to call this special Board of Education meeting to order. The Board of Education has reconvened back into open session at 6:35 p.m. The next item on our agenda is our action item, which is under Human Resources, and that is the adoption of the superintendent's evaluation. The Board of Education met in closed session for the purpose of evaluating the superintendent. Our evaluation is a consensus document, and we would like to share the results prior to the adoption. The Michigan Association of School Board Superintendents covers professional practice, student growth, and progress toward district goals. After reviewing the evidence, the board awarded Superintendent Dr. Zachary Ross 24 out of 24 points possible in the area of governance and board relations. Trustees, do you agree that was our finding?
Yes.
Thank you. The board awarded Superintendent Zachary Ross 24 out of 24 points possible in the area of community relations. Trustees, do you agree that that was our finding?
Yes.
Thank you, board. The board awarded Superintendent Zachary Ross 28 out of 28 points possible in the area of staff relations. Trustees, do you agree that was our finding?
Yes.
Thank you. The board awarded Superintendent Zachary Ross 20 out of 20 points possible in the area of business and finance. Trustees, do you agree that was our finding?
Yes.
Thank you. The board awarded Superintendent Zachary Ross 40 out of 40 points possible in the area of instructional leadership. Trustees, do you agree that was our finding?
Yes.
Each category has a weighted score, and the result of all categories in professional practice is 100. Using the district growth model and assessment data for the determination of student growth, the board awarded Superintendent Zachary Ross 3 out of 4 points possible. Trustees, do you agree that was our finding?
Yes.
In the area of progress toward district-wide goals, the board awarded Superintendent Zachary Ross 4 out of 4 points possible. Trustees, do you agree that was our finding?
Yes.
The total score for all areas is 90%. Therefore, Superintendent Zachary Ross is ranked highly qualified. May I have a motion to adopt the board's evaluation of the superintendent?
Madam President, this is Trustee Goodrich. I move that the Board of Education adopt the personnel evaluation of Superintendent Alina Zachary Ross.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Dr. Zachary Ross. I think that deserves a round of applause. That concludes our special meeting for this evening, and we are adjourned, and we'll move right into our regular Board of Education meeting. We are adjourned from this meeting at 6:39 p.m. We will move right into our regular meeting for this evening. And the first item on our agenda is the roll call of those Board of Education members who are present. Trustee Goodrich, could you please perform the roll call?
Certainly, Madam President. Trustee Townsend. Present. Trustee Schindler. Trustee Fields. Trustee Gainsleigh. Present. Trustee Goodrich. I am here. Vice President Lee. President Hawkins.
I am here. We have five Board of Education members who are present and 2 that are absent. Thank you, Trustee Goodrich. Next, we have the Pledge of Allegiance, and at this time, I would like to invite members of the public and the board and all the staff to join us in reciting of the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That takes us to item 3 on our agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented? Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support, Trustee Gainsleigh.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Gainsleigh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to item 4 under Achievements, Awards, and Recognition. At this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to, at this time, invite the principal of our wonderful Ypsilanti International Elementary School to come, Principal Sharif, because we have our points of pride today. The board is always excited to have our students come to in our buildings to come to represent. We have points of pride from Wise Elementary, and Principal Sharif is going to represent with her building today. So Principal Dr. Sharif, welcome.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zachary Ross and all the trustees here. I would like to invite Ms. Echols, our 5th grade teacher, and to welcome all of our wonderful parents here. And Ms. Echols, if you would please welcome our students who are here, that would help us to read our 7 points of pride, if that's okay.
All right, can I have Stella, JJ, Olivia, Tiffany, Moon, Liam, and Terrence?
First, we are proud of our WISE partnership with the U of M Stamps School of Art and Design. College students work in partnership with local elementary students to integrate art with academics and make connections through art with their academics. As a result, the 5th graders meet weekly with the college students and create art projects together and connect what they are learning with contemporary art, which is displayed throughout the school.
We are proud of embracing our differences. We are WISE, celebrating 3 out of 4 winners. District-wide, our art teacher, Miss Fish is currently working with students on artwork with themes related to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Our Y School celebration of learning for kindergarten to fifth grade was a great success, and we will make it an annual event. Celebration of learning gives students an opportunity to share their pride and accomplishments with the whole school community. Students are given a chance to perform on stage, and it could be a song, dance, poem, or presentation. The entire school received our diversity, and it was awesome to see.
Ms. Eccles' fifth grade class was interviewed and featured in MLive's article entitled Educators Make Use of AI Technology at Ypsilanti Community Schools. The students demonstrated engaging learning and inquiry as Ms. Eccles facilitated the social studies lesson. What an exciting experience.
2023 to 2024 is the fourth year WISE has been celebrating being an IB authorized school. Teachers are putting into action the skills they have acquired during the annual summer.
During the IB unit, How We Express Ourselves, fourth graders explored the theme of identity and made community connections by attending a UMS-sponsored multimedia performance at the Fright House. Plus, they participated in a classroom theater workshop where they recalled details, themes, and explored character traits and theatrical expressions. Though the workshop was 6 weeks after the play, the students recalled and reflected on key themes and ideas from the play with ease and enthusiasm.
The WISE community gathered for our first annual Fall Fest. Families and staff, local community resources had a wonderful time connecting and celebrating our WISE family. Our PTO provided food and there was a book giveaway. Families spent time connecting with one another and the opportunity to learn about their child's curriculum, the IBPYP program. There was even a market run and staffed by student entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. What our families stand, the Ypsilanti, it's with the parents and support staff, all those who are here in the audience, would you please stand as well? All those families who are here, would you stand? Thank you. All right, thank you to all of our students, our families, caregivers, staff, community members who are here to celebrate. This is one of the highlights of our board meetings, is being able to witness and celebrate all of the accomplishments and achievements of our student scholars in this outstanding district. So let's give ourselves and these students another round of applause. Next, that takes us to, you are welcome to stay or you're welcome to go. We know tomorrow is a school day. It is up to you. School night, school day, yes. Next, we have the Michigan School Business Official Certified Facilities Director Achievement. Dr. Zachary Ross, would you like to introduce?
Thank you so much, Madam President. Mr. Rose. There you are. Mr. Aaron Rose has met the requirements for certification. There are stringent requirements under the Michigan School Business Officials. It is a voluntary certification program, and he's earned the Certified Facilities Director certification. It is a commitment of 90 hours of professional development established by MSBO Board of Directors through the Professional Development Committee. And so we are celebrating and recognizing him for this accomplishment, and we're really proud of him. So congratulations, Director Rose.
Right, thank you. Outstanding achievement. That takes us now to item number 5 on our agenda. which is our strategic planning, monitoring, evaluation. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to our MASB facilitator, Mary Kerwin.
It has been the custom of this board at the December meeting to undertake a board self-assessment. And we have been recognized by Cognia for this practice. So you can see community members who are here, that there is a large placard on the side where the district was actually acknowledged with distinction by Cognia. It was the highest score that they had yet given. So it's a lot to be proud of. And so the board self-assessment is part of this. You are responding to the self-assessment as a team, as a board team. So the rankings are 0 unsure, 1 seldom never, 2 occasionally, 3 usually, and 4 always. And a board, if you'll just raise your hand, trustees, if you'll raise your hand on whatever score you think is in response to the prompt. All of these happen to deal with, for those who are here with us tonight, deal with the roles and responsibilities of being a member of a Board of Education. The first one is the board uses a two-way communication process with the superintendent, whereby neither the board nor the superintendent is surprised at meetings. If you'd raise your hand to denote, it looks like 4. The board ensures that a systematic program is maintained by the staff to orient newly elected or appointed board members to their duties and responsibilities, as well as to acquaint them with board policies and operating procedures. What is your rank? It's 4. The board operates according to written policies that are updated on a regular basis. That's something that we just reviewed. It's 4. When policy is adopted, both board and staff adhere to it. 4. The board acts as a policy-making and governance body. The superintendent is held responsible for administration and evaluation of school programs. So as a governance body. 4. Before making a decision on any matter other than the superintendent's contract, the board allows the superintendent ample opportunity to develop staff recommendations for action. 4. The board does not respond to emotional pressure and does not write instant policy. It provides the superintendent with an opportunity to develop policy proposals. The board understands and uses rules of order when it conducts its meetings. 4. Board members arrive at meetings prepared to contribute to discussions and do not waste valuable meeting time requesting information that has already been provided. 4. Board members are representatives of the entire community, not just of special interest groups, and are committed to public school welfare. When citizen and special interest group recommendations are considered, the board explains its position and the reasons which may prevent it from implementing all recommendations. The board and superintendent work well together in a spirit of mutual confidence. The board respects the daily executive responsibility of the superintendent, and the superintendent respects the governance responsibilities of the board. In cooperation with the superintendent, the board has received a set of criteria and goals, which are monitored for progress during the course of the year. Fairness and diligence are used by the board in the superintendent evaluation process. Official actions of board members concern the welfare of the school system only. No board member uses her office for patronage, personal profit, or advancement. Only the entire board can decide a course of action. Board members are careful to speak publicly on issues only as individuals.
Major responsibilities of the board include establishing priorities and ensuring SMART goals are in place so that the priorities are clear and tracked. It's 60 points possible, the board scored 68. That would place you in highly effective. And again, your superintendent tonight was evaluated as highly effective. The board itself is highly effective. We do not have all board members here, but this is done as a team. It's the board that shows up at the meetings that makes the decisions at the meetings. So again, thank you for that. We usually look at a big picture piece at the end of this. What do you think this board does particularly well? And then what might we improve? So what do we do particularly well as a Board of Education? I think what we do really well, I think we are board members who stay really connected and engaged in what's going on, not only in the buildings, but our participation at events throughout our community. I think that as a board, we collaborate, we remain curious. We have a level of preparedness that I think shows up in every board meeting that we attend. We ask really good questions at our board meeting. I think we use our time efficiently and effectively to move through agenda items and to also make sure we are governing in a way that demonstrates that we are operating as good stewards of the district's resources. Yeah, that's all I'll say for now. It was.
I would like to say that I think what's good about how we're operating as a board is that we're being very intentional about every decision that is being made, meaning that we want to make sure that we're following all processes. We have enough information and data before we make a decision. I think that we're being really good about making decisions that are student first, based on students first. Considering all pros and cons, any things that we do have to work on, we acknowledge any type of shortcomings that we have, but our conversations are solution driven. And so I think that is something that we have done very well, especially this year. And then with the outcome that we have concerning the debt, we were very intentional about who we needed to have in those rooms, those conversations, and we supported the superintendent in those conversations. I also think that when it comes to a mutual respect for one another, we respect each person's skill sets, what they're bringing to the table, and just respecting them generally as a person. So I think that's very important anytime you have a team that you're trying to come up with collaborations and things in the community. You have to have some type of positive camaraderie, even for the board, as well as we treat the staff that way as well.
I think, to tag on to that, that this board has done a very good job of keeping our students, each of our students, at the heart of our decision making, and that I appreciate that we never lose sight of why we're here and who we're here for.
I'm not sure if I mentioned this already. So if I did, I apologize. But I am really proud of the fact that this board takes an active interest in staying current with policies and also taking an active role in their own professional development and growth as board members through MESB, through presentation at workshops and conferences. I think that is a very, very important piece that keeps this board centering students and equity and making sure we're advancing the academic achievement of the scholars in our district. Any other board comments? Are there areas that you would that you can see would be places for improvement?
One of the areas is I think it would be good, you know, we kind of talked about it with the WASB as well, is at some point looking to start to mentor our scholars about board leadership, whether they want to eventually sit in these seats or some other seats. I think it would be good to have some type of representation at the table. We've done it in the past, so I think that's something that we should probably put back in place. But making sure that when we do that, we have a structure in place that, you know, has an intentional result for it, because we do want to make sure that we're creating or helping to build future leaders in the community. The other thing is just to continue to drive the brand of YCS and changing narratives about what the standard here is in the district, and that we are a district of excellence and we do have requirements, and making sure that the community is also on board and engaged, and how we can increase community participation consistently. I think that's something that we can continue to try to work on, and how we do that.
And one area that we are now working on, and we talked about this in our closed session, is that PTOs, we're starting to get those established, but getting that parent involvement in the community.
Just a note, trustee Fields, we should not be sharing anything from closed session and open session.
Sorry, but anyway, about parent and PTO, that's all I wanted to say, was about the PTOs. We need the parent involvement, still improving in that area. I would love to see that grow, which we have seen. We've seen a number of our schools have already started their parent, but to have that across all of our schools, and just to get those numbers up and say, you know, I know it's starting up early, but just getting that to grow and get parents more active and involved in what's going on with the students in their schools and the participation.
I would just to extend on your point, trustee Fields, I think that was great to note. To extend on that, I would say that I'm really excited about the opportunity to have Lambert as telling our story. So something that as a board, I know we can remember, we've been talking about this for now, it feels like a couple of years, just really telling our story in YCS, and now feeling like we have the space to do that, and we have a company who can kind of catapult us and make sure that we are highlighting all of the great things that are happening in our district. I think being able to do that through Lambert, but also being able to do that at every opportunity and chance that we get, because we know that perception can be reality. And I think the more that we lift up this district and talk about all of the great things that we are doing, and we push that out, those messages start to become permanent and ingrained. And so people know that we're doing a lot of great work. It doesn't mean we're perfect, but no district is perfect. But I think that we're taking so many steps and we're doing so much great work. And if you've been in our buildings and you've seen our principals and you've seen our teachers and you've seen our kids learning in the classrooms, that is enough to toot our own horn and to be able to share that. So I feel like it's an opportunity for us to just continue the momentum around Lambert coming in and bringing that piece for us that it felt like was missing a little bit. And it also, you know, builds on all of the great work of our previous marketing coordinators and directors and staff who are in our district. So I'm just really excited about that opportunity, especially as we look to our 10-year anniversary, to be able to highlight where we were, how far we've come, and then where we're going.
I just wanted to echo trustee Townsend's comment about student voice and student leadership. I do think that's an area that we could definitely expand into. And, you know, I think was one of the things that when I joined the board 5 years ago said this would be a great area for us to explore. And then a pandemic happened, so we didn't have a lot of opportunities to work on that growth. So I'm hoping that now that's something that this board might be interested in considering.
Other board comments?
I think that concludes the assessment portion, Madam President. Now we move into what we call the pre-organizational meeting, where we talk about in January, the first meeting will be what we call the organizational meeting, and that's where trustees choose officers. And so we have found that it's quite proactive that at this meeting to share if anyone is interested in holding a particular
role on the board as an officer, and then sharing the reasons that is a good fit for the following year. So traditionally, we start with treasurer, and we always look to our current treasurer. What is your level of interest in serving as treasurer? And then we'll share if anyone else has an interest.
Yeah, I've been the treasurer since I've joined the board. Nobody has arm wrestled me for it yet, so I would be willing to serve, but also willing to, move if anyone is super interested in that position. I think that because we're done, right? We got the debt relieved, so I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish. It's very exciting. That's I think that when I joined this board, significantly reducing that debt, restructuring so that our Willow Run taxpayers aren't paying significantly more than our former YPS taxpayers, and getting us into a really strong financial position were some of the goals that we had. I don't think that any of us could have anticipated how that has played out over the last 5 years, but we're in just so much stronger of a position, which is incredibly exciting. So would definitely be willing to continue in the role. I know I've learned a lot about school finance, and so I feel like I am pretty well qualified to continue as well.
And just to share, because we do have community members in the room tonight, that generally each of the officers tends to share that anyone else is open to the role that they're currently serving. So I'm not surprised that the current treasurer would say, "Don't have to arm wrestle me if you have an interest." Is there anyone else at the table who has an interest in becoming treasurer?
I don't know. Should I arm wrestle you now? I mean, I will consider it.
Okay,
That's
all
my
right.
word for the day. Consider.
So that's good to know. And again, the idea is that we don't show up in January where everyone is striving to do this. So that we want to make sure that we're honoring everyone in the room. And so if you would share, trustee, any special skills you have in this area, or as our current treasurer recognized that one of the very important goals, and it did take a team and a change in legislature in order to make this happen, but that debt relief was something that was really worked for, and everyone should be commended for this, and certainly the current treasurer. So if you would share some of your skills in that area or interest, we'd appreciate it.
I have 25 years in banking, finance. I also am a licensed realtor for over 15 years. I serve on several boards, and some of those roles are as treasurer. I also am the vice president for the Washtenaw Area School Board Association, and I was the past secretary treasurer.
So the experience and the skill set. So this is something to kind of think about for the coming
And I
month.
currently serve with our treasurer, finance and operations committee, so.
Oh, okay, good. So, and it's very collegial.
Mhm.
So that's something to think about as we go forward. We also have the position of secretary. So Madam Secretary.
So I've served as the secretary since my second year on this board. I don't know that I have any exceptional skills for being secretary. I am detail and process oriented and available. Sometimes things when they need to be done. But I'm certainly open if any other members of the board would be interested in serving that role.
In the meetings that I've attended, you've never been flummoxed by anything that's come before you, and I know that that's through preparation. Is anyone else sitting at the table interested in serving as secretary? Change things up. Sharon Lee,
sorry.
pardon me.
I'm not interested in serving as secretary. I just did want to point out that we have two board members who aren't here, so I feel like we're going to need to continue this conversation as well.
Right, that's true. And Trustee Schindler for a long time served as secretary and was very gratified when it was someone else. One of our board members, Trustee who is not here, who is an officer, is Sharon Lee, who has served as vice president and at last pre-organizational meeting indicated an interest in continuing to serve. I have not spoken with her. Has anyone had a chance, communicated with Vice President Lee? Is anyone in the room interested in serving as vice president? In that case, President, our current president has served as president for a number of years and taken us through some good transitions. What is your state of, where are you at this point? Are you interested in continuing, or? I am interested in continuing in the role. You know, it's been an honor to sit in this seat. It's been an honor to work with this board. It's been an honor to go through the ebbs and flows and to see our growth and development as a board. I've appreciated the ways that we've come together and collaborated and been able to not just do the work here, but also share the work that we're doing nationally and even locally. Having the board engaged in submitting proposals and really sharing our work and even being asked to be consultants for other districts has been has been pretty impressive. And so I've just appreciated the support and the trust of the board for us to be able to work together and even work through the ebbs and flows. So I would be interested in continuing in the role as president. And we're kind of running out of positions at this point, but anyone else interested in serving as president? Anyone else want to speak up about anything that we've talked about? Okay, you have a month really to kind of dwell on you know, what you would like to do. But again, the idea is not to come in January and then have so many people challenging for secretary or for treasurer or any of these fundamental things. So we do have an indication. And again, we're proactive in that approach, just trying to ascertain who has an interest and what skills they have. And then finally, at this point, after we go through the superintendent's evaluation, the board self-assessment, the pre-organizational meeting, we go around and do a couple things. And one is to talk about something from this year that you hold dear, that has brought you joy, that you think it is, that has been great fuel for you. And then in addition to that special gift, that wonderful thing that has happened, if you could also share something that you aspire to have happen in the coming year. So something you're grateful for, and then something that you are aspiring to. And just be forewarned, because this usually includes the superintendent at the end. So.
I'm grateful.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I mean, I'll just say, and I may have more to say, but I'll just begin. I am excited that, you know, being on this board and appointed when the two districts came together, and to be the only board member who's still here from the consolidation, it is absolutely a joy that the debt has been relieved. And it is a joy that this debt has not only been relieved, but that we can talk about that in a way that shows to our community that we've been working and staying the course, and that relief extends to our community. So that to me is one of the biggest highlights of this year, and I'm sure other trustees will echo those sentiments. But that's just been pure joy. We're just on the one part joy. We'll go back to the other one, or do you want to say both now? No, we could do joy, or you could go ahead and talk about your aspiration if you would. I think my aspiration is connected to my joy. So my aspiration is that I look forward to see how the debt being relieved starts to impact at the building level, staff level, and importantly, how it starts to impact the resources we're able to pour back into our scholars. Yeah, anyone else?
I just would like to echo Madam President in regards to that, everything that she said. I think what's important is that we made it to today. It's been a long year. and we still standing.
Yes.
So I'm very excited. I think one of the greatest things was being able to go with the board and speak on a national level, talking about the work that we're doing here. And also we just came back from the Michigan Association of School Board. Again, that was very exciting to see the enthusiasm of other boards and wanting to know how we work together and how we overcome different obstacles and things like that. I'm excited for the new year and what that's to bring and the results from the work that was committed, that was done this year. And hopefully we can continue to move, well, not hopefully, we will continue to move the legacy forward of the district and just being mindful of, you know, where we're going and always being prepared for that. So I'm also excited about proving our naysayers wrong.
I'm gonna be real unoriginal and also celebrate the impending debt relief. We're still, nothing's final till it's all final, but I'm excited and proud of the work that our administration and board and community did to advocate for that. It's incredible what this district accomplished with that substantial obstacle facing us every year. You know, it's exciting to see some of the changes that have happened, the equalization of foundation allowances and the increases that we've seen, and now potentially getting rid of this debt and allowing us to put more resources towards our students. Opportunities that I see at the funding level, like this is getting us to equal, and we all are well aware that equal is not the same as equitable. I look forward to a day when we can support all of our students and compensate all of our teachers and staff and administrators in a way that's truly equitable and reflective of the incredible work that they do on behalf of the students we serve.
I'll chime in and maybe be original because I've already talked about that. I think one exciting thing about this year is the fact that it has been 10 years since the consolidation, and that this district, you know, many districts that have been in financial trouble have dissolved. They're gone. In this case, these two districts came together, assumed the debt of both districts. Shouldn't have happened. Whole story. But the 10 years later, this is you know, very closely recognized by Cognia as a district of distinction. We have made incredible strides academically. We've made incredible strides organizationally, and just the way that these two districts have come together in the last 10 years and formed a brand new district is really exciting. And I think in particular, I want to celebrate the fact that like we have been really recognized, and I'll call out Mr. Coscarella there and the finance team, the grants team, as well as our leadership in terms of all these federal grants that have come our way, competitive grants. So the new magnets, so that'll be in the aspiration, but the magnet schools, you know, investing in our staff. We're going to have new electric buses. You know, these are you know, Grizzly Camp and the way that we use some of the COVID funds to really support our families. These have been opportunities for YCS to stand out and to you know, use this distinction and get recognized and get more resources into our district. So my aspiration for our upcoming year is that we you know, really show how well we value our educators, and that our educators, the strongest indicators for me are that our educators are super excited to stay in this district, and that our families, and that all the families, whether they're here or not, are choosing YCS, are excited to come here and bring their families here. And you know, some of them that may have choiced out of the district in the past, I hope they see the value that's being created.
Oh, so my turn. I was last, but okay. I just want to echo and ditto everything everybody has said. We're all excited about the debt relief. And I mean, I have to say that was one of the biggest exciting things for us that we've been striving for, especially since I've been on the board, is we're looking at that debt. And so I'm excited about where we're going, what we're bringing, how we're going to showing the community that we're here for the kids as a board, as administration, as teachers, as everyone coming forward. The fact that we were chosen to speak, like she said, on a national level, and having all that was an exciting thing to have people come up to us and recognize us and want to know how we're doing what we're doing over here at YCS. That was a beautiful thing to be recognized for that. And to feel like, you know, we were like the stars of that event. That was really exciting, you know, and that was a great opportunity for us. It opened more doors for us to be recognized as Ypsi Community Schools, them get invited to more opportunities for that. That was nice. And then having that same opportunity when we went to the MSAB a couple of weeks ago, that was a beautiful thing as well. And having that, it just made me feel good as to be representing this school district and people to come up to you and say, hey, what are you guys doing there? You know, recognizing all these women on the board, you know, nothing against the men, but just saying that these strong, you know, women are running things over there and making it happen and be recognized for that. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for where we're going. I'm excited what we're bringing, what's coming to us from this new opportunity we have, and just looking for that.
Talking about just being grateful again, when you think about the innovation, you know, with even the debt, you know, people are asking about where we stood out and asked for it and the benefits of the other districts because we asked. It started at the 7.3 million, but because our team went and asked, it got to the 42 million, and others, because of people like Carolyn and others who went to the Black Legislative Caucus and asked. Today, as a matter of fact, finding out that this had not gone to the governor, so now other senators and others went and said, oh, we're going to go to the governor and take it to, because it hasn't gone to the governor yet. And so now people are pushing to make sure it goes to the governor this week so that she can then sign it within 10 days, because we are pushing and asking. We're not just sitting back anymore. We're pushing and asking. And so now within 10 days, and I'm like, well, everybody else is pushing and asking, and we're being proactive and asking and pushing and not just sitting back anymore. We're asking. And so those are the kinds of things I'm grateful for, is that we're not letting people push us. This board is standing and holding our ground and saying we're doing it our way. Yes. We're doing it the right way. We're standing our ground and pushing. We're also just grateful for the support. As you talked about the grants, we've brought in money for our students to do the systemic work. So I'm grateful for that support, for the LEAP grants, that we are able to bring in literacy, diverse books and libraries for our students, not just in school and outside of school. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that we've been able to support our teachers and drivers and all kinds of staff throughout the last 3 years through the SEEK grant. I'm grateful that going forward, talking about what I'm looking forward to when you talk about the IB and STEAM work that we're going to be able to do, that impact. That's what I'm looking forward to. The impact that's going to be able to happen now that the debt will be able to be removed, but and also what we'll be able to see moving forward, the innovation that we'll be able to see systemically, because we already know what we've been able to see with IB, both at WISE. We saw our students today, looking forward to it. And people don't talk about, they look at the #1 high school in our county and in the state, Y High, but they forget that 98 of those students were YCS students who graduated last year. They forget from our STEM middle college, we had 100% graduation rate and 98% graduation rate. And so at both ends of from our youngest to our highest, those were what we looked at, the IB and STEM and the success. And so now we're going to be able to braid it. So what are we going to be able to see now that it's systemic with that magnet grant? And we're putting our funds and we're going to put our resources so it can go district-wide. And so I'm just so excited and thankful and grateful for the support, and what I'm looking forward to is the results and the impact on our students. And then the funds are going to help us to pay and support our staff, because that's who does the work, is the people who are closest to our babies. So I thank our staff. Charlotte is here. Thank you so much, Charlotte, for your support, because you've trusted and believed. And you know, we work so close together. So thank you for your support, because you haven't left our students. You have been there. So thank you.
Yeah,
No.
what's been demonstrated tonight is that through consensus, this Board of Education evaluated the superintendent. Through consensus, you looked at your own self-assessment. And in speaking about what you take as a gift from this year and in the future, all of you spoke in terms of we. No one at this table said I. It all had to do with that team, that consensus, that collaboration, that caring for each other and focusing on the scholars. And our intention, which is to ensure that those scholars are successful through the work of academics and through work like we saw tonight when our students came and were able to describe their own points of pride from things that are happening. So that fire, I think, is shown by all of you, the leadership at this table, and certainly by those who have joined us tonight. So it's been a privilege, really, to be with you for this facilitation tonight. I'm one of those many people through MASC who's very proud and recognize your distinction. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. It's always a pleasure to have you come and facilitate for us and to lead us through this process of the superintendent evaluation and the self-assessment of the board. And it's just a nice marker in the year for us to reflect on all of the things that we've accomplished and all the things we have to look forward to. So thank you. At this time, I would like to ask if we have a presentation we know coming forward. That's our next item on the agenda. But if it's okay with the board, I would just like to ask if we could take maybe a 3-minute, actually it'll probably be a 5-minute recess as we transition, as Mr. Rose prepares to come up. And Mr. Davis comes up. Can we please take a 5-minute recess? Is that okay with the board? Okay, thank you. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
painting in March, masonry in April and May, depending on weather. And a few scrolls down, please, Si. The generator work, the generators that we purchased, in the past 90 days have, 50 and 54-week lead times. So we won't have a generator for the opening of the school, in August of 24, but we will be working towards that. Also in addition to that, we want to work on tying in more of our head-in rooms and our technology closets into the network so that we can maintain connectivity in those power outages more consistent across the building and also across the eastern side of the district, as several of the buildings, including Homes and Ford, feed off of that network closet head-in room. The bathrooms and fixtures in March, we have some work to prepare lockers for kiddos. That can begin as early as January. And then that deep clean in May, concurrent to a lot of the furniture and things that will be coming in to stage the building and be ready for occupancy against the wall. What questions may you have about budget or timelines for facilities?
I'm curious whether the technology numbers here, the 1.5 million, the big number at the top, does that include facilities and technology dollars?
Those are separate.
Okay.
Facilities up top.
Thanks.
And again, those are budget numbers, always keeping, that 30,000 bucks for work. We would be able to come in under that. Those are the numbers that we consider.
Does the 1.5 include any of the grounds, like the track field, football, any of that? Okay.
Just the building, just looking at the three different aspects that could be. No, those don't include.
Online.
All right.
Did we talk about when that we would have those, or when we would be discussing that? About the grounds and the fields and stuff, because I wanted to, because that's something, if we said we were gonna do it after, so is the expectation that they'll be using the fields where they're currently at then until we get that resolved?
Yes, we wouldn't
Okay.
change anything in terms of our operations until we're intentional about improving, or creating those environments, at the new location. We are in conversations with the township, and some of their facilities that are close, and, some partnerships that may be
Okay.
promising on that front. Yes.
How are we set for staffing to undertake the work that you've outlined here?
What was the question?
How are we set for staffing to undertake the work that you've outlined here? Looking particularly at the cleaning and the.
Great questions. Most all of this work would be contracted work, in addition to, as you notice, the work that we would be doing, to maintain the district in a normal, kind of scope. So yeah, most of this would be contracted work.
All right, good evening, everyone. Okay, so my numbers are a little bit more fluid. So things that I have former numbers for, I tried to tie it into most concrete values that I have. But you'll see some of things are things that I have not yet purchased in the past, and so their numbers are a little more fluid there. So we're looking at roughly in the mid-30s on classrooms, and so each of those rooms, as most of our teachers have become to expect, to use the BenQ boards, the interactive panels that you may have seen in the front conference room. So those need to be put into the classrooms, and so that's kind of the rough cost there. And that does at least fortunately include the labor for that one. We also, one of our big undertakings, not this summer, but the last summer, is we installed a brand new PA and classroom sound field system into every one of our rooms. And it's been really nice, and it's definitely great for safety as well. And thankfully, we actually over purchased on some spares, and so we're using that, and then we need to supplement a few more to finish out that building. There are some rough needs here that we are not sure of, and it really comes down to, I'll just jump ahead a little bit to the wiring. We we're just unsure of where all the wiring stands in the building, and so that will be an unknown. We have some network needs that we need to roll across. Even though we've been using it for Grizzly Learning Camp, the intention of the camp was not to be heavily reliant upon technology. And so we structured our technology for those summer camps at a very broad setup, meant for coverage and not for density. And so this is going to need to be addressed. And we have some equipment in the building that we need to update as well. So talk about wiring. We are going to need to reconnect the southeast corner of the building. It's been completely disconnected from the main network. And so that is a work and that's the auditorium. So that's that wing of that building. We need some phones to flush out and finish out the building so that every room has a phone and front offices and those kind of things. So there's some estimates there. We currently need some cameras to finish plugging the holes, and also interior cameras. Again, the intention of the cameras we installed in that building 2 summers ago was to keep an eye on a building, not so much to it was not a time to build it in such a way to monitor, use in that building. Some projectors, auditorium. We need some new sound systems. We need to at least re-examine it, and then also the gym PA system. So again, you can see there's I start dropping off numbers at the end here, as I just don't have good figures to add to that right now. So that is ranging and closing in on the hardware side of things. We're looking at definitely around $500,000 and more. If we look at the labor, so the question from Trustee Goodrich earlier about labor, a lot of this, almost all of this will need to be contracted as as the timeline is to get the RFP out very much like what Director Rose had said, that we want to get it out as soon as possible, end of January, trying to make that at the latest, so that we can schedule our contractors to have the labor available. As many of you are aware, summer is a very popular time for schools to do work like this, and our vendors typically, we try to get them in scheduled around April. And so that's where we need to have all of our RFPs wrapped up and approved and created and ready to go for that. And the labor costs typically for most of our vendors are right here. This is a pretty good estimate, about $200 to $250 an hour. So typically per person. So it can get pretty high. We do get some discounts when we do it through E-rate, but E-rate has qualifications on what it covers. And so, and our category 2 funding, which is mostly dedicated to the network side of things, will be mostly dedicated for that side rather than the labor cost. So that's kind of where I'm standing at from a very high level viewpoint of where technology for that building. So, and we've done one walkthrough, and we definitely need to do more to make sure that things are ready to go and that the things are in place. But what questions might you have for me regarding technology for that building?
I was curious, and this might be a question for Mr. Butler, but how much of this is included? I know all the technology is sinking fund eligible. Are there places where we can fit this into our sinking fund schedule?
We met today with our sinking fund. We can make space for it. It won't fit in. So we'll have to be intentional about what we choose to take off of that schedule.
Okay.
But the funds are there for us to allocate it. That's the decision that we make.
The allocation, both the facilities capital as well as the technology?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Only thing that right now that I know would not fall under would not be sinking fund eligible would be the painting and the cleaning on my side.
Thanks. And I noticed that there were a number of grants there. Did we confirm that the the magnet school grant, obviously we would be moving the middle school IB program into this facility, which is part of the reason for the move. Does that grant cover some of the facilities expenses that would be associated with that new school?
Very little.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some spaces where, instructional dollars could, fit in, but very little. So that's part of the conversation around, presenting the proposed budget, getting an approved budget, then to move into to the RFP, for January. So that would be from today until January that we would be looking to secure the proposed budget.
Thank you.
Can you share with them a little bit more about the E-rate pieces and what possibly could go into E-rate, as well as the new infrastructure E-rate piece?
Sure. So E-rate is broken out into two categories. Category 1 is for external connectivity, is the general way to look at it, and then Category 2 is at more of our network infrastructure and within a building. And so we have roughly about we have a diminished amount left in our Category 2 funding after several projects in the past few years, upgrading our wireless and our network infrastructure in our existing buildings. And so the remaining amount that's an estimate there, the 50,000 right here. And so is dedicated for our network infrastructure. And then we are hoping to take advantage of some additional funding this year from the state for Category 1 to really enhance our fiber connections externally from our district outwards and also across our buildings, and to really update those connections and to reinforce them, make sure they are at the highest speed so we don't have bottlenecks at some of our older connections. And also looking at the construction, and we're having a consultant come in to review those lines to try to help us find ways to, what's the word I'm looking for, harden against things like squirrels and storms.
So then I know you wanted some feedback from the building, and so we have our principal here, just real quickly, so that we can go on to the next part of our meeting.
So yes,
answer.
First of all, good evening. And thank you for allowing me to come here and speak to you. I had the privilege of, we have a very unique makeup in our building. We have people in our building who've never been to the Willow Run campus. And then we have a lot of teachers who worked there before the consolidation, and they moved 6 years ago. And so I think the biggest, for me, one of the things that we had to do is ask them, how did they feel? And the beauty of that is everyone who worked there before can't wait to go back, because space is, they're sharing, they're on top of each other in our building right now. We love it there, but just to be able to add another program is the biggest question becomes where. And so one of the things that I did Friday, I went around and basically, have you been there? Because I gave tours to new teachers so they could see it. So just giving them the survey, and they had no idea where we were even. Some of them are so new, they didn't even know it was a school 1.9 miles away. And so we took them and we did the 2-hour tour and answered all the questions and things of that nature. And so that was very eye-opening and successful for them. But what we really wanted to do is the people like Miss Benson, who's been there 30 years, Miss Brady, who's been there 21 years, my technology teacher, Miss Gossett, who was there when Mr. Rose was the principal there. And so just getting the voices of those people was really, really important to me. I spent almost 2 hours, 22 minutes today calling parents, because again, it's a survey that went out on Friday. And thank you, Ms. Banks, for providing it. But at the same time, a lot of my parents, the technology issues and things of that nature, like 29 of my 400 and plus people responded, because a lot of them don't look at emails on the weekend. So even when you call them and say, can you please check the email? We sent texts to say, please check your email. We got 29. So, it's 400 of them that didn't say anything. So I start calling today, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I didn't get one parent of the people that we called today that said I didn't want to do it. But again, I did have video clips of all of these staff members that did it. Students, most of my kids have never been. They don't even know. Yeah, that's why we're doing the fun nights and things of that nature. So that's a picture of the new building. And then we got clips of people speaking and how they feel. It was so big, we couldn't just send it. So it's a link that we can share and that, you guys can go kind of listen and look at what they all said. So while we're waiting on the technical difficulties, this is one of the things you do as an educator.
You wanna go through the survey,
So
what we do?
we can go through that too. Yep. And again, like I said, one of the things with the survey, we had 29
It said
parents.
35.
Oh, it's 35 parents? Okay. So we still have 400 of them that didn't.
34.
34 people.
You just click it. What is that? That's him, you racking on the.
Oh, my bad. It's been a long day. So, I don't really know what that means. You agree with the following statement?
These were the words that they used, the highest words they used on the survey. Great, move, opportunity, community.
I think one of the things that we need to take in consideration, and one of the things I really appreciate so much about, I was in Nevada at a conference watching the board meeting 3 hours ahead of time, and I wanted to answer so many of those questions that you may have had. But it was, I don't know, it was early in the morning when we was watching it. But what I want to say is I don't want people to be stuck in time. We talk about that all the time. That's one of the pillars of what we do in our district. We don't freeze people in time. And it takes time to change the a misconception or things of the past. But one of the things that we've done is our culture has changed. And so with that being the case, this is the right time with the right people, and that's the right place. And so when I invite you to come by. So I don't know what you've heard, but what we're doing, and if you ever look on social media, one of the things that you see is everything is different. And maybe it's not different, but it's shown different. So again, one of the things I can do is I can always show you everybody talks about space. And in our current location, we don't have a lot of space. And so we went through and my staff, we've had 4, and thank you, Mr. Rose. We've been there 4 times walking through from every room, every area from the auditorium. I had to find out how to turn it on, the lights, because it gets dark in there. But at the same time, there's so many amenities in that building. And one of the things that they will never have to talk about is space. Our biggest thing is having really high expectations. And with that, you have the ability for students to be able to reach that, those expectations that we have. For us, honestly, a lot of our parents just they don't know. They haven't been there. They don't have a clue. And so, a lot of people are thinking about what happened 6 years ago with the move. You guys are being intentional about how we do it. And the planning is happening now. Mr. Rose we walked it ourselves. So again, at the same time, For me, safety is incredibly important. Systematically, we're going to show exactly how they come in, how they go out. I had a big concern about the pool because we have some babies that are nonverbal and things of that nature. But, you know, Mr. Rose showed me how it's almost impossible to get into that pool unless you are, you know, unless you have a key. You see what I'm saying? And so for me, it's that's one of the biggest things that we have is the pool, the auditorium, the car, the not having to have 3 lunches. You know, that because of the size of the cafeteria, 2 different serving sizes at the same time. Those are all things that we can do to inform how we instruct our students. And so you have less time in them doing that and more time in instruction. So that becomes incredibly beneficial from us. But our building is, the culture is being created every day. It's, we went from students to scholars. I mean, they've been scholars, but they have to believe it. The expectations are incredibly high. I invite you all to stop by anytime. You don't have to let me know, just come through and you will see that. You won't know that it's 450 kids there, but they're there and learning. And so these stars, you know, the 3.9s and the 3.8s, you know, it's, I think that bottom one is the one that kind of gets me. The Ypsilanti Middle School has a bad reputation. I think change will be good. You know, like I said, we're not going to be frozen in time. You should come by and see. I mean, just this weekend about our kids at the robotics competition, we didn't have robotics. We didn't have student council. We have a National Junior Honor Society. We didn't have that. And so again, those are the kind of things that, you know, I spend a lot of my day now doing positive office referrals instead of negative ones. Student of the week are going all the way down the hallway because they can't wait to get them. So again, as things change, I just feel like you know, the space, the amenities, the structure, we have the staff. It's time. And so I'm open to any questions, but I also want to be very respectful of time. They've been waiting a long time. So if you have any questions, I can respond to anything that you have.
Thank you, Principal Davis.
You good?
Does the board have any questions at this time? No. No.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Zhang, Director Rose, and Principal Davis. So this takes us to item 7A, public comments. Thank you, Ms. Haynes, for the additional public comment cards. I'm going to take a moment to read the public comment protocol. Pursuant to Board of Education Policy 0167.3, the board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their views. Please limit statements to 3 minutes duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members individually. Remarks shall be made in a respectful and professional manner. In the absence of our parliamentarian, do we have a volunteer to keep the time?
I'll keep the time.
Thank you, Trustee Townsend. All right, the first card is from Lynette Finlay.
Is this on?
Might need to be a little further back from that, actually.
Okay, I hear myself now. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Dr. Zachary Ross for her outstanding evaluation and for all your great work that you're doing as a board. We do appreciate it. I'm here representing the Superior Charter Township Community Center Advisory Committee, known as the CCAC. And I just want to express a couple of comments. We're very excited to work with you all. We look forward to doing programming with you as we hopefully get a community center, recreational center going. I know our board, by the way, I'm the clerk for Charter Township of Superior, and I am one of the members or chairing the the CCAC, and there are members that's back here that's on the group. But I just want to quickly say that we've been working on this for 2 years now. Our board okayed this because we listen to our community. We listen to people that would come to us and say, we want a community center, we want a rec center. And they've been wanting this and asking for this for over 20 plus years. So I am very excited that you do have that on the agenda. I know that we have funds that we're waiting to spend some of these funds. And I just want to tell you the funding source that we have approved to this point. We have funding coming from HUD, Community Project Fund, from Debbie Dingle, who gave us $3 million. 7 million from the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners from the ARPA funds, 15 million from the state of Michigan, 3.5 million Parks and Recreation Commission, and that's intended for some programming. And we have the potential to get another 2.5 million from the state, known as from a community center grant, that we should be finding out about those sources of funds as we speak. So we're hoping and we're praying that you do accept, and I think it's on your agenda, which is great. Item 12, authorized negotiation of purchase agreement. And I hope that that is for the land for Cheney and its surrounding land, that we authorize that purchase for the county. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you and all the support for programming for our kids, our community, our senior citizens, because we do believe strongly that this community center will benefit and help economically for our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Clerk Finley. Next I have Jan Peart.
Good evening. My name is Jan Peart, and I live in Superior Township. And I'm also here to advocate that the board would sell the land, the 26 acres, so that we can build a community center. I know that many residents, including myself, have been working really, really hard to advocate from a citizen perspective for the debt relief. I know that I've worked with elected officials to do that, and it is so important because I believe in our community, and it's so important that we also give back to the community. And this is a perfect way of doing that. It's just a great segue of the community, Ypsilanti Community Schools receiving this money and then giving back to the community in such a obvious way. And I believe that this would open the opportunity to be able to go further and do more community centers throughout Ypsilanti, because all of the different areas of Ypsilanti deserve their own community center. So I really appreciate if you would be willing to do this. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ms. Peart. Next I have Kelly Goodsley.
Good evening, board, and congratulations, Dr. Ross, on all of your successes this year and all your accolades for being such a great board. Thank you. I come to you also pleading that the board agrees to purchase or to release the purchase of the Cheney building, the 26 acres. We have been working tirelessly for the last 2 years, getting the voice from the community as to what they want and what they need for their babies, for our babies. This would be generational change for a lot of families in the 48198 and 48197. This is huge, and I just beg and plead this board to say yes to that contract. So please, please, and please, we really need this for those kiddos out in the 48198 and 48197. They don't have much of anything. They have been struggling and for years. And so I just implore the board, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Marcia R. Moore.
Good evening. Just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to talk. I'm a mother of two graduates of Ypsilanti Community High School. Principal over there, I know he remembers me. I've been in his office quite often. We need a community center there. Our children, when they come home from school, they need somewhere to go. They need to be able to have somewhere they can do some activities after school, you know, even on the weekends. They need things to keep them busy and occupied. And I feel that if a child is busy and got things to keep them occupied, that's less mischief you have later on or down the road later, you know. So I'm asking and begging and pleading and praying and asking that we can get this community center and y'all can help, let us have that property. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Next, I have Todd Weiser. Todd Weiser.
Well, thank you all for the opportunity. I'm Tad Weiser. I live in the north part of Ypsi Township and here representing the board of Washtenaw Regional Organizing Coalition, We Rock, who's been very supportive of this project and helping be an asset to the community in kind of organizing techniques on how to help things happen in a positive way. Ms. Gouldsby didn't brag about this wonderful survey that they've put together that we've been helping with as well. But it's just from our perspective. Yes. By the way, I'm as having two kids who graduated from Ypsi schools many years ago. It's just really great to come back and catch up. This was an opportunity to catch up because I'm not here at every meeting, but this isn't academic related, but it's is related to the overall idea of a stable, healthy, larger community. This is important for the whole east side of Washtenaw County, I feel like, and just encourage you all to keep the momentum going. It's exciting that this is happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Weiser. Next, Crystal Light. She is not here anymore. Next, I have Shane Barber.
Thank you, board. I appreciate you taking the time today to speak to me. I have a few concerns I want to bring up to your attention. I want to say thank you for the progress we've made with transportation. It is a world above last year. The transportation system has been amazing in a few points. Less missed buses, kids making it in time. But I think one thing we can still work on is communication. Most of the numbers online, disconnected. Most calls don't get answered. If we can work on that next, on when I can call and say, hey, where's my kid? It's 5:30. The bus is supposed to be there at 4:55. I need someone to pick up the phone. It's one of the most concerned parents that say, hey, where's my kid? I need someone to be at the end of the line. So I definitely think we made bounds and leaps over last year. I mean, I want to, congratulations on that, but we need to keep moving forward. What can we do better? The only reason why we're all here today is because of the children. That's what makes the district. You guys have jobs. If you're just you do for us, we have kids. Again, we're all here because of the kids. That's what we do, right? Otherwise the district wouldn't exist. Myself, I'm a graduate from 05. I'm from the district. I've lived here for 30 years. But I do have one other concern besides that, and that is head lice. We've had issues in multiple schools. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. I have a feeling it's not being brought to the attention. And I feel that way because there are no letters being sent out. Schools are not communicating. I know of at least 3 different schools in the district that have had the problem and not one has communicated out, hey, we have an issue, please check your kids. There are carriers in the school that need to be dealt with. If your kids have lice, pick them up. My kids personally, I'll be honest, have had lice. What's the first thing I do? How do I get them home? How do I get them out of the school to protect other children? Not all parents are doing that, and I don't think they're all being checked. I've talked to the school nurse, which was in middle school, happened to be at the other schools. She's unsure of the policies. unsure who she should contact, what the district policies on the continuum. She's supposed to be here today. I don't think she's here. But figuring out what she isn't supposed to do. What is the school district policy on communication? Is it required? Is it not required? What is the state policy? Now, things have changed in 20 years. I'm not sure what it is now or what's been. But back in 2005, 2008, if there's a problem, there would have been letters to now. It was almost guaranteed in the media. That's not happened. So if you guys can look into that for us and figure out what's going on, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Barber. I know Superintendent Zachary Ross and her staff will follow up with you.
Thank you.
And finally, I have TC Collins.
Good evening. My name is TC Collins. Congratulations on the work that you do, and thank you, board, at the work that you guys do. Myself, I teach gardening and farming. I'm Washtenaw County's oldest Black farmer, and I bring the skill set to the community to teach the kids about agriculture because it is very important about food justice and food security. In the River Run community, we are left out. And what I mean by that is that our history has been slowly dissolved. When you get a chance, take a walk out at the football field and you see Ypsi Braves. 12 years ago, there was an exodus. We were faced in our community, stay, merge, or deal with it. A lot of the families, they left. That is part of the exodus because in Rilla Run and Ypsilanti, we are still not liked upon each other. There's still a rivalry, just like you have Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears, or you have U of M and Ohio State. Well, we have Ypsilanti and Rilla Run. That is still existing to this day. We need to heal this problem that we have because we want to bring people back to the Ypsilanti community schools. Having a logo next to that water tower, right along with Ypsilanti Braves, is a start. Is a start to heal this community. I'm from Rilla Run, and I graduated from Rilla Run, and I played on the football team for Rilla Run. The school, Johnny B. Cheney, is not just a building. It was a woman. She was a Black woman. She was the first Black woman in Washtenaw County to be an educator. Even if the building gets sold, all I'm asking is the board to have a conversation with the residents and use her name and replace that name of hers and put it on the middle school. So that way it can continue the name of her legacy, because we have young girls that need to look up to a Black woman. That is most important because we have too many men's buildings, too many men's names on buildings here in Washtenaw County, but we rarely have a woman's name. I'm standing up for Johnny B. Cheney for her legacy because she was my teacher. I have gotten a paddle from Ms. Cheney because I cut it in line, and that disciplined me, and that made me think twice of cutting in line again because I did not want that paddle. She's a very strong woman. And yes, I do support the community center, rec center, however that outcome be, if they name it after her or if they don't. But her spirit needs to live in our community of Rilla Run because more of the buildings that get tore down, and we're going forward with the history of Ypsilanti Community Schools going forward, we don't have a historian that talks about the past of Rilla Run and the accomplishments. I teach about the history of Rilla Run history continuously because I'm proud of both communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Thank you, Ms. Haynes. That takes us now to item 8A, our consent agenda. To entertain a motion at this time to adopt the consent agenda.
Madam Treasurer, Madam Secretary, I move that the Board of Education approve the November 6th, 2023 regular board meeting minutes to November 7th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. special board meeting minutes. The number 3, November 7th, 2023, 6:30 special board meeting minutes. Number 4, November 15th, 2023 special board meeting minutes. And number 5, personnel matters as per the presented listed dated November 28, 2023, new hires and resignations.
All right, we have a motion from trustee Townsend. Do I have support?
Trustee Fields, I support.
Okay, motion from trustee Townsend, support from trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that brings us to item 9. So we need to make an alteration to the agenda. Superintendent Zachary Roth, could you outline our options right now?
Thank you. Like, I was gonna say, Madam President, so I'm like, thank you, trustee Goodrich. At this time, typically the board would have gone into closed session. In order for us to go into closed session, board, you have to have 2/3 of the board present. There's not 2/3 of the board present. And so I looked over the Open Meetings Act with the attorney that is present, and we are not in that condition. So at this time, the board could have the attorney come and to talk about what could happen at the action item and just talk about what the implications would be. And if the board then at the action item, what the consequences would be. And he could just walk through that in open session, just as what those, if you go through the action item, what that would be. If that's the pleasure of the board.
Okay.
Trustee Fields?
Fine. Now just
proceed with that.
Is that? Can you just introduce yourself again?
Sure. Sure. My name is Kirk Harold. I'm an attorney at the Troon Law Firm, counsel for the school district. As the superintendent indicated per the agenda, it was the planned in terms of closed session to discuss material exempt from disclosure under statute pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. You need a 2/3 roll call vote of all of the board members that are serving, and that means we need 5 votes, and we have board members here right now. So we don't have enough to go into closed session, but based on the public comment, it's not a significant surprise that the district has received a proposed purchase agreement from Washtenaw County for parcels of property known as the former Cheney School. We could, I have seen that proposed purchase agreement. I could speak to the provisions within that proposed purchase agreement, or as an alternative, as you can see on the action item in the agenda is for the board to authorize the superintendent or her designee to negotiate, modify as necessary, and execute a purchase agreement with the county of Washtenaw. It's in the best interest of the school district and then subject to legal review. So it would be giving some authority to the superintendent.
And Julie is getting the packets that were in the closed session room for you. I'm sorry, they were just in there. So she's grabbing the papers.
So those are your options. You can provide that authority to the superintendent. Again, to review, modify, execute, subject to legal review and in the best interest of the school district. And that's a very typical motion for a Board of Education.
Would the board like a few moments with the packet?
Superintendent Zachary Ross, does this packet include a copy of the audit or the assessment?
Oh, no, it was quick, like,
It was brief. Okay.
no, lengthy.
Oh, okay. Will that be shared?
Yeah.
No. No.
So just so I'm understanding, so with this current motion that we have, this would just allow the superintendent to go ahead and start the process.
Correct.
And do what we need to do, but it would still be subject to final approval by both boards, so the seller and the buyer.
That's up to the board.
Okay.
Board's decision. You can authorize the superintendent to execute on the board's behalf, or you can authorize the superintendent to negotiate and modify the agreement for subsequent approval by the board.
Okay.
I know that this has been, a long time coming. One of the questions that I know that we had sent to the county, and I am not aware of how it has gotten resolved, was that there were 2 parcels and then there was a 3rd parcel that was sort of in question. The county had done some title work 3-4 years ago, indicating that we owned all 3 parcels. When the purchase agreement came through, only 2 of the parcels were included. And so I just wanted to ask whether that's been resolved in the most recent version, if we have clarity on those titles and clear title to the properties.
No, that would be part of the.
That's part of the
negotiation. Because
okay.
it does show there are 3 parcels. It does show clear title for 2. There is a question with respect to one of the parcels. Of course, you could sell that property via quitclaim deed if the county was willing to accept that parcel via quitclaim deed. That basically means we're not warranting that we own the property, but we're selling whatever it is that we do own. So to the extent there was a question as to owning, we could still sell that. So there are some options out there. I have reached out to the county's real estate attorney. I haven't had a response yet, but that is something that we would be discussing.
So just for clarification, so we all on the same page, this is for the superintendent to start the negotiation, modify, and execute. And then we just need to make a decision if that is subject contingent upon final board approval. So any details regarding that negotiation is still pending.
That's correct.
Okay.
My understanding is that we were authorizing our superintendent to negotiate and complete the agreement. And I believe we have an option as a board to do either of those things. I know that this has been under discussion for a full year. We had a year of interest, and we're that clock is ticking down. And I believe that we've come to a pretty clear understanding in terms of getting the purchase price that's going to cover the outstanding debt on the property, as well as any closing costs and some of those fees. So I, speaking solely for myself, would be comfortable authorizing our superintendent to move forward, assuming that those costs to the district are going to be covered, which it seems like, according to this real estate agreement, that they would be. So that would be my, I guess, suggestion, noting that, in terms of, some of the things that still need to be figured out, like the title, the 3rd parcel that I mentioned. I think that our superintendent is well aware, and again, just speaking for myself, that it is our intention to sell the whole property as much as we have of it. And so that what we don't want is to have a property in the middle of a block that we can't access and we still have to mow. We want to make sure that the whole thing goes as one, you know, under the appropriate legal, but I think that can be resolved. To me, this price reflects the conversations that we've had. And I'd personally be comfortable moving forward tonight.
Are there any other questions for the attorney?
Just want to be clear, did you say on, the closing costs and, which is 8A, you said it's all been taken care of? You answered that, or
I think that
it was okay with what you see on there?
I
No,
thought
I'm
it was,
just-
I
that's
thought
what
I
she
saw
said.
it
You're saying
mentioned.
it's okay.
But
That's
you
what I'm
can ask the
saying.
attorney.
We're not going in, we're not reading it.
No
No,
details.
no, I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I'm not giving out any. I just asked her if that what she was clear. I wanted to understand what she just said.
My apologies. I thought
Yeah,
that
okay.
this said the closing
Thank you.
cost
No.
was covered, but it
Yeah,
is not
it-
in here,
it's
so
not.
Yeah, we leave it alone. I just wanted,
misspoke.
yeah.
So item 8 is closing costs, if folks want to read what the details there.
So we want to make, so the changes that we want to make this contingent upon final board approval. That's the only language we would need to add to the motion.
Yeah, so again, there's kind of two options.
It's 2 options.
We do
One
that, we have
is,
to have another
do
board
you
meeting.
want to authorize the superintendent now to
Okay.
make those decisions and to execute and finalize on the board's behalf? That's option 1. And option 2 is, do you want to authorize the superintendent to negotiate a final agreement to come back to the board
Okay.
for approval? So the former is not coming back to the board, or would not have to come back to the board, and the
Yeah.
latter would.
Okay.
Which would mean we have to have another board meeting.
Mhm.
I would just say that the motion that's, I know we've spent a lot of time talking about this. I am personally comfortable with the motion that's before us now to have the superintendent negotiate, modify, and
Right.
execute the purchase agreement. I feel like we are unified in our goals with this sale. And I'd personally be comfortable taking the action as it is presented in our board packet when we get to the action item.
Trustee Townsend, I move that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent or her designee to negotiate, modify, and execute a purchase agreement for the former Cheney School property in substantially the form provided to the district in the best interest of the district and subject to legal review.
The motion from trustee Townsend, do you have support?
Trustee Fields, I support.
Moved by trustee Townsend, supported by trustee Fields. Is there any further discussion at this time? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. This takes us to action item 11B. Acceptance of the decision to relocate Ypsilanti Middle School Willow Run Complex. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam Secretary, I move that the Board of Education accept the decision to relocate Ypsilanti Community Middle School to the Willow Run Complex.
There's support.
Trustee Townsend, support.
Motion from trustee Gainsley, support from trustee. Is there any further discussion on this item? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. This takes us to item 12A, public comment session number 2. Ms. Haynes, are there any comments? If there are no comment cards, that takes us to item 13A, Board of Education Subcommittee Reports. Are there any subcommittee reports this time?
Well, our Operations and Finance Subcommittee met. We discussed the Cheney property and we discussed the Willow Run Middle School, both of which we've resolved today. So I don't think I need to go into a lot more detail there.
Thank you, Trustee Gainsleigh.
I have nothing to report today.
Thank you, Trustee Fields. If there are no further subcommittee reports, then that takes us to item 14A, Board and Superintendent comments. Are there any board comments at this time?
I just had a few, Madam Secretary. I just wanted to again, thank the district for allowing the board members to go to the MASB conference. We did an excellent presentation about equity, board leadership. The room was packed, and they didn't want us to leave. So we were excited about that. Definitely got a lot of training in, exhausted from that trip, but it was a good trip. I would like to say congratulations to our union president, Charlotte Tillerson. Ace Middle School had their annual Thanksgiving dinner, and one of the big surprises is that they had the Charlotte Tillerson food pantry started, and we actually put that to use right away. I was able to go to her and help a family of one of our students, and they were well prepared. So I would like to thank personally Ms. Tillerson and Ms. Floki, who were there to help assist with that particular family I was working with. Also would like to say congratulations to Estherbrook. They had a wonderful Heritage Night. That was really nice. The kids were lively. I'm definitely feeling the feeling of not having younger children in the house. So I have to get adjusted for that, but they kept me moving, and that was really nice, well attended. They had plenty of food. It was just a lively group. Then also I would like to recognize Perry School. They had a partnership with New Testament Baptist Church where they gave out food baskets to local students and families. And I just thought that was really wonderful. And they do such an excellent job at Perry School. So shout out to Mr. Dickerson and his staff. So again, I just want to say to the board, it has been a pleasure serving with you for 2024. I know we have some meetings after this at hopefully not tonight, no more, but just want to say thank you to the staff and all the work that you do. We're just excited for 2024 and the big things that are coming down the line. And again, also thank you to our superintendent. Your work is not in vain. We got another big task ahead of us according to tonight, but we shall get that done as well. And hopefully our community will continue to support us as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Townsend. Are there any other board comments?
I guess I just wanted to offer a bit of celebration. I know this has been a long meeting and our board got here at 5:30 and had a meeting before this meeting. So it's been a long night. And I appreciate the members of the public who came today and our cabinet and board who joined us. I think that what is very exciting and really strikes me about tonight is that recognition and doing right by the Willow Run district in terms of both, we had a lot of conversations about the debt, which is finally going to even out that tax burden between the YPS and former Willow Run districts, moving the middle school back into that gorgeous building. Oh my gosh, if you have not been to that building, you have to get into that building. It's beautiful. The library, I just cannot wait to have our students in that library with their brand new books from some of the grants that we've gotten. It's just an incredibly exciting opportunity to get back into that beautiful building. And so I'm really enthusiastic about the opportunities to get parents in there, the opportunities to get community members. I appreciate that Mr. Collins brought up the idea of naming that building, because I think that will be a conversation that we do want to have. And then finally, of course, the opportunity to have the Cheney property used as a recreation center for our community. Thank you. Many thanks for all of you and, many people in this community who have been working, on that for a long time. I sat in this room 10 years ago and we talked about that idea. It talked about a East Side Recreation Center and the number of properties that might be considered for it. So it's really, really exciting to see that come to fruition and to see some really amazing things happening on the far east side of the county. So thank you, everyone, and it's a great night.
Thank you, trustee Gainsbury. Any other comments?
Want to ditto you about the community center as well. I'm excited about that. I live in that neighborhood, so I am excited for the babies over there. That we were able to come to an agreement. That's what I'm excited about, being able to come to agree on something positive. I was also able to tell them, but I still was able to make it over for the Thanksgiving dinner that they had over at Ace. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Had lots of good food. It was well attended there. And I was excited that they were able to name the pantry after Tillerson. She earns that, and we thank you for that. And just excited. I'm really excited for what's to come for YCS. You know what I'm saying? They counted us out, but we are here. We hear a lot of things in the community, but they're talking in another way right now. And I enjoy that. I'm happy for that for all of our kids and babies. And so that's what I'm excited about.
Thank you, trustee Fields. I echo all of that, and I want to once more congratulate the teams that represented our district at both CUBE nationally and MASB at the state level. It was exciting to be part of some of the early discussions around the things we could highlight from our district, and I'm so grateful for those of you who went and so capably represented the amazing work that's happening in our district. It's awesome to have that recognition at all of those levels, and exciting to start bringing that recognition home and continue the journey of telling our story and making sure that the folks in our community know about all the amazing things happening in our district. So thank you all for your hard work. I'll turn it over to Superintendent Zachary Ross.
Thank you. And again, board, thank you for the wonderful evaluation today. I just appreciate it and know that it is certainly a team effort. So I'd like to thank the cabinet that's here for your support this year and just all the years, but thank you. This is a team evaluation. So thank you, team, for the evaluation, and Mary for your facilitation. Really appreciate it. Thank you to the community for your advocacy for our students and for this community. Is going to be a wonderful, wonderful endeavor as we continue to move forward. So thank you very much for being here and the support. I'm just really excited. Yes, the MASB conference was excellent. The energy and the flow. You should have seen these powerful board members presenting. They did a wonderful job at MASB. I presented at NABSE, the National Association of Black School Educators, about for AI in the district. Dr. Lopez will be presenting at McCaw, along with one of our teachers, Mr. Laporte from the high school. So you should be very proud of our teachers. He'll be presenting at McCaw December 13th. And so our teachers are presenting across the state and representing our district. And so we're excited about how the district is just showing up all over the place. And so just really proud of our staff at YCS. And so I'm looking forward to hearing about that. Our transportation is even being recognized. The first ever Washtenaw County award for Head Start. He received an award for his driving. And so Washtenaw ISD at this month's board meeting, we went last week? Last week, and he received the Head Start Award for transportation. And we are so proud of Chris Sturdivant. So if you see Chris, give him a round of applause because of his driving. Yes, the transportation is improving, and he received the only one in the county, the first ever award. And so Chris Sturdivant, we are proud of you for receiving that award for his outstanding. It was a pop-up, they, for Head Start, they just get on buses randomly and check out the drivers, and he was so outstanding that they recognized him at the WISD board meeting last week. So we're really proud of him. And so we just appreciate the support. As you think about that, this is our last meeting for 2023, and leaving out the year, ending on this high note. Thank you for staying with us. It's a little bit late, and there's a lot that was accomplished on a positive note on behalf of students. And I appreciate this board for keeping students at the forefront. And as we think about the middle school, our young, this been a basketball season, and if you haven't seen one of those basketball games, our students, even at that, you think about high school and the middle school, you know, just thinking about the energy and what's been happening, even the feel and the tone of the middle school, the excitement, the scholarly excitement, and what they've been doing in sports and non-academic is just really exciting what's happening at YCS. So if you have not been looking or paying attention, it's some positive things that's happening. So go Grizzlies, everyone.
Thank you, Superintendent Zachary Ross. There's so much to celebrate right now. A great way to end out the year. If there are no further board comments, then that takes us to item 15A, and we are adjourned at 8:47.